If you're watching this, you're 100% a horror fanatic and we approve. Let us know where you are watching this from and be a part of our community. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support means everything. Let's start. I'll never forget that last delivery. It was nearly closing time at Lou's Pizza Den, and I was alone at the front counter wiping down the register, mentally counting the minutes till I could head home. The fluorescent lights buzzed above, and the kitchen had already gone quiet. It was one of those sleepy weeknights when the phone rang. An old rotary line with a shrill that cut through the silence like a blade. I picked it up. Lou's Pizza Den, how can I? Nothing. Just dead air. No static. No breathing. Just empty silence. I waited 5 seconds before hanging up. A minute passed. The phone rang again. I stared at it this time, annoyed, then snatched it off the hook. "Hello," I said, sharper this time. Still nothing. My finger hovered over the disconnect button when I heard it. A whisper, weak and cold. "Just a plain cheese, please." The voice crackled like it had traveled 100 miles to reach me. It was the voice of someone brittle and ancient. I kept my tone polite, but inside I was exhausted. I wanted to tell her we were closing, but a delivery was a delivery. "Sure, ma'am," I said, jotting the address down on a sticky note. But before I could confirm the details, she hung up. "No, thank you." Just a click. I glanced at the back kitchen. "Hey, Lou," I shouted. "Got one more. Some lady wants a pie delivered." He poked his head out from the walk-in fridge. "Your call, Ed. Just drop it off and go home." "I'm locking up." "Fine. At least I'd be done for the night and maybe make a few bucks on a tip." The address was just over 6 miles away, across the bridge and down one of the older residential streets near the woods. A part of town that always felt frozen in time. Porches with rocking chairs no one used anymore, yards where weeds ruled. At 9:58, I pulled up to the place. It was a sagging one-story house with weather-worn shingles and no porch light. No cars in the driveway. The block was dead silent, every house dark, like the whole street had been swallowed by night. The only sound was the idle hum of my engine. I got out with the pizza and walked up the cracked path. The grass, soaked in dew, pulled at my shoes. I rang the bell. No sound inside. No footsteps. No bark of a dog or flicker of a light. I rang again, then once more. That's when I saw her. To my right, behind a dusty front window, there she stood. A woman in a pale nightgown, face like stone, watching me through the glass. Her eyes were wide, glassy, skin pale, almost gray. I froze mid-step. Hey," I said, raising the box. "Got your pizza?" She didn't respond. I took a hesitant step closer. "You okay?" Suddenly, her mouth curled into a smile, one that didn't belong on a face that lifeless. It stretched too wide, too slow, like skin being peeled from muscle. Not warm, not human. The air around me felt colder instantly. That was enough for me. I turned, briskly walked back to my car, and tossed the pizza onto the passenger seat. My hands trembled as I fumbled with my phone. I texted Lou. Woman at door gave me the creeps. House was dark. She just stared, leaving. Then I looked up. She was outside, right there beside my car. Her face at my passenger window, her forehead nearly touching the glass. That same smile, plastic, wrong, unnatural. Her eyes didn't blink. I screamed. The keys slipped from my lap, and I scrambled to shove them into the ignition. The engine turned. I slammed the gear into drive and peeled away from the curb, heart jackhammering in my chest. I didn't stop till I reached the main road, and even then, I couldn't shake the image of her face from my mind. I told Lou everything when I got back the next day. He didn't even ask questions, just nodded and muttered, You're off late shifts. Permanently. Weeks passed. Couldn't sleep. I'd see her smile in my dreams. Every time I looked out a window, I expected her to be standing there. I started covering the mirrors in my apartment. I couldn't explain why, but something about her reflection haunted me more than the memory itself. 2 months later, out of curiosity or stupidity, I drove by that house again. It was gone. Just an empty lot now, overgrown with weeds, like nothing had ever been built there at all. Back when I was 17, I worked part-time delivering for Bruno's Brick Oven out in a rural patch of northern Vermont. Long winding roads, more trees than houses, and not a single damn streetlight past 8 p.m. That's what I drove through every night. It was late October, and the sun dipped below the trees early. I was wiping down the front counter, ready to clock out, when Bruno's voice came from the kitchen. "One more, Dean. Last drop before we close." I gritted my teeth. My 99 Taurus was already sputtering that week, and this wasn't the night to push it. Still, I nodded, took the order slip, and loaded up the car. The address was way out, 15 miles into what I thought was uninhabited land. Most of our orders went to trailer homes or aging lake houses buried in thick woods. This one, a place called Basin Creek Road. I hadn't heard of it before, but the GPS knew it. The drive started normal, but after 10 minutes, the road narrowed, and the asphalt gave way to gravel. Trees pressed in tight on both sides, branches clawing at the car as the sky turned dark blue, almost black. A fine mist had begun to settle on the windshield. Eventually, the GPS dinged. "You've arrived." I looked up. The house was more a shack than a home. Wooden slats stained with moss. A slanted roof that looked like it might cave in any second. The whole thing leaned to one side like it was tired of standing. Grass, ankle deep, covered the entire yard. No porch lights, no cars. I stepped out with the pizza, the scent of hot cheese mixing with the damp rot of the surrounding forest. The front door had no knob, just a knotted, warped plank with a slot where a handle used to be. I knocked hard. Thump, thump, thump. Within seconds, footsteps echoed from inside. Wood on wood, creaking slowly toward me. I stepped back. They stopped right at the door. I waited for it to open. Didn't. "Pizza's here," I called out. No reply, but then a voice, dry, hoarse, came through the wood like smoke seeping from a fire. "Back door." I blinked. "I'm sorry. Out back." The voice repeated, flatter this time. Something about it made my skin crawl. It was off, like someone who hadn't spoken in weeks suddenly found a reason. I glanced at the door, then at the shadows gathering around the house. My gut told me to turn back. Just leave the pizza, walk away, maybe toss it on the porch. But I'd already gotten reamed by Bruno the last time I skipped a delivery. I couldn't afford to lose this job. So, with a sigh, I walked around the side of the house. The grass dragged at my pants. There was a shed half-collapsed near the tree line, and a lopsided wooden patio where 4 chairs circled a rotting table. In one chair, someone sat facing away, just the back of a head barely visible above the seat. I hesitated. "Excuse me," I called out, my voice thin in the cold air. No response. "Hey, your pizza's here." Nothing. I was about to approach when, "Over here," came from behind me. I spun around. A man was poking his head out from behind the far corner of the house. His face was pale, long, with a hungry smile that made my knees feel weak. His eyes didn't blink. "Come here. I want to show you something." I stumbled back, nearly tripping over the uneven earth. I didn't ask questions. I didn't hesitate. I bolted, around the front, through the tall grass. I didn't even try to open the car door. I dove in through the open window, scraping my arm on the frame. Keys in, engine on, tires kicking up gravel. I drove like a demon was on my tail. 10 minutes down the road, I finally pulled over, heart still hammering, and called the police. I told them someone tried to lure me around back. Maybe something worse. They checked the place the next morning. Nothing. Not even recent footprints. The cottage had been abandoned for years, they said. Furniture still inside, cobwebbed over, covered in dust. No sign of the man, or the person in the chair. Bruno didn't say a word when I told him I was done. I left the job that week, but I still think about that night, about that figure in the chair. I should have looked. I should have turned just a bit more to see who or what was sitting there. But part of me is glad I didn't, because whatever it was, I don't think it was waiting for pizza. I was living in a remote Pennsylvania borough called Linwood Hollow when I took a job delivering for a local place called Dante's Slice. It was the kind of quiet, tree-choked place where people kept to themselves, and the roads disappeared into forests thick enough to feel endless. This night, the fog had rolled in hard. I remember it because I could barely see past the beams of my headlights. My tires crunched over gravel as I took a shortcut I'd driven 100 times before, Old Willoughby Road. No houses, no gas stations, no lights, just trees. I was halfway down the road when something shot out from the tree line. I slammed on the brakes. Hard. The car bounced. I heard it thud-thump. I sat frozen, hand clenched on the wheel, the pizza box shifting on the passenger seat beside me. I knew I'd hit someone. I opened the door slowly, my breath clouding in the cold air. There, crumpled in the faint wash of my headlights, lay a man. He wore a black hoodie, the hood up, hiding his face. One leg bent under his body like a rag doll. I staggered over. "Hey!" I yelled. "You okay?" No movement. I crouched, hesitant to touch him. I was trying to steady my own breathing, panic crawling up my spine like fire ants. Then I heard it, a scream, faint, from somewhere in the woods to the left of the road. A woman calling out for help. "Help me!" I turned my head toward the noise, looked back down at the man. He hadn't moved, hadn't made a sound. His body still lay twisted by the front tire. I don't know what I was thinking, but I ran toward the trees. Just for a minute, I told myself. 1 minute. I pushed past the branches, the undergrowth scraping my arms. The deeper I went, the more the fog swallowed the world. My flashlight flickered, barely cutting through the gloom. "Where are you?" I shouted. No answer. Just the rustling of leaves and the occasional snap of a twig. I turned in a slow circle. Then I heard it. A soft crunch. Footsteps. Directly behind me. I spun around, but there was only fog and trees. Still, I saw it just barely. A figure, half concealed behind a wide oak, unmoving, watching. I didn't wait to see more. I ran, back toward the road, crashing through branches, not caring if I fell or dropped the pizza. I had one goal, get to the car and lock the doors. When I reached the road, the car was still running, but the man I'd hit, gone. No blood, no footprints, just tire marks where I'd braked. I threw open the door and jumped in. My fingers fumbled on the gear shift as I peeled out, gravel spitting up behind me. The rest of the drive was a blur of fear and second-guessing. But somehow I still delivered the damn pizza. A middle-aged woman answered the door, her dog barking wildly inside. She handed me the cash, then paused. Her eyes narrowed, focusing on something behind me. "Oh," she said with a puzzled smile. "They let you guys have delivery partners now?" I blinked. "What?" She gestured behind me. "There's someone in your back seat." My blood turned to ice. I turned slowly, So slow, like if I moved too fast, it would pounce. There was a man sitting in the back seat. The same hoodie, same motionless posture. Except now his head was turned, and I could see his face. Eyes black and wide, lips curled slightly like he knew something I didn't. I stumbled back from the doorstep. The woman grabbed her phone. I used hers to call the police. They searched the car, every inch of it. The man was gone, again, but they found something. A knife, blood-stained, stuffed down beneath the back seat. They kept the blade, took my statement, said they'd file a report and let me know if anything turned up. Nothing ever did. I haven't delivered a pizza since. I sold the car a week later, couldn't even stand to look at it. But the worst part, I still don't know what I hit that night, or what followed me into the woods, or who or what rode silently behind me, waiting for me to look away just once.